Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 105 of the Quiz Mercenary Quarantine Edition Pub Quiz? Yeah, Pub Quiz. I am topside right now. As you can see, I'm in the kitchens, trying to scrunch up some food for myself to bring back down to the lower levels. And as you can see, the uprising up here has left things in quite a bit of disarray. I have barricaded myself in here pretty well. It's pretty soundproof, so I figure I'll hang out in the kitchens here for a while until things calm down, then go back down to my subterranean lair. So if you are new to my game, there are 4 rounds in this game. Up first I've got the warm-up round, then I've got a wager round, connections round is third, and then finally, and I feel appropriately, the final round. If you don't know how to play any of these rounds, don't worry, I'll go through the rules as we get into each one. And if you want to go ahead and skip ahead to each one of those, I'm going to leave the timestamps up here for you. For real this time, I'll do it, I swear. So you can skip ahead to those and play those rounds individually if you don't want to play the whole game. A couple of things to go over before we get too far ahead of it. If you are new to the game and you're not quite sure how to make an answer sheet, or you don't know what answer sheet should look like, head over to my website. That's up here as well for you too, quizmercenary.weebly.com. I have answer sheets there for you, blank ones you can fill out through the game. You can print them up too. I've got printable question scripts for you. I've got answers for the games. I've got lots of stuff there. I'm also going to plug this real quick. I am not doing these games for my own monetary gain. I am doing them to help support my former patron bars who let me do these games live in front of people at their bars before all this stuff came down on us. So if you want to go to the description of the video, take a look at those links, click on some, pay some people, keep some small businesses afloat, and do what you can. A lot of them are doing to-go food, to-go beer, gift certificates, and yeah, so just support who you can when you can, and that's that. One last thing before we get too far into the game, I did want to ask you to like and subscribe to this channel. If you can, like this video, share it around. I know you've got nerd friends who really know and love trivia and want to play some stuff. So tell them about me, because I need people to follow me if I'm going to validate my existence. Cool. That's it. Ready to play the game? Great. Let's go into it. First round of the game is called the warm-up round. In this round, I'm going to give you 16 questions, all on the same topic. You're going to answer them for 4 points apiece. I'm going to put all of them on the screen at once, so not one at a time, just all up there at once. And once I do that, you're going to pause the screen. If you're playing by pub quiz rules, pause it for 10 minutes. But if you're, you can determine what your time is for this. I've got in this round, I've got it's a favorite category of mine. It's called Change a Letter, Ruin a TV Show. So here's what I did. I took the title of 16 different TV shows, and I changed one letter in each title to make a new title. I'm going to give you the descriptions of each of those new titles that is of a TV show with one letter changed. I used some elements from the original, but I also made it make sense for the new title. Your answer should be the new changed title after one letter has been changed. I'll give you an example too. If I were to say some lifeguards sit around and watch a movie that won Jamie Foxx an Oscar, the answer would be Raywatch. TV show was Baywatch, changed that B to an R, and now it's Raywatch. So here we go. I'm going to put all 10 of those on screen right now. I'll read them off later. If you want to read them, feel free to download the warm-up round for this game at my website. But pause now, and I'll be back with the answers in just a moment. See you shortly. And we're back. Let's take a look at those answers, folks, with the warm-up round. Change a letter, ruin a TV show. So here we go. Number 1, Melissa McCarthy stars as the wife of a Chicago police officer who starts testing MDMA on rodents. That is Mice and Molly. Mice and Molly. Number 2, Ty Pennington takes a ride on a time machine and tries to undo the damage that barbarians did in 476 AD. That is Extreme Home Makeover, Rome Edition. Number 3, Mr. Power, Mr. Biggums, and Mr. Muggsy Bogues vie for control of Westeros. That is Game of Tyrones. Game of Tyrones. 4, Walter White has cancer and copes by jumping on every bandwagon he can. That is Breaking Fad. 5, the hordes of undead monsters can't seem to stop touching themselves inappropriately. That's The Wanking Dead. Wanking Dead. 6, this mother and daughter pair are so close they're like thin filaments on a fish's head that absorb oxygen from water. That is the Gilmore Gills. Gilmore Gills. Number 7, American reality competition show that lets children play with knives and fire while trying to make edible food. That is Tot Chef. T-O-T Chef. Number 8, a lower class family in Chicago decides to save money by letting all their body hair grow out. That is Shaveless. Number 9, the queen of comebacks / goddess of pop fights crime alongside her loyal Watson in Sherlock. Cher. Number 10, a twisted futuristic anthology series that focuses mostly on vampires trying to get a sense of what they look like and failing is Blank Mirror, because they don't have reflections. You get it? Good. Number 11, a genius grandfather and 2 score of his grandsons travel the universe together. A score is 20, that is Rick and 40. Rick and 40. Number 12, in a well-planned suicide note, a teen ominously omits a baker's dozen of rationales for her actions. That is 13 Reasons Shy. She is 13 Reasons Shy. 13, Miss Davis and Miss Midler try to get in contact with their attorney, Jimmy McGill. That is Betty's Call Saul. Number 14, Zach Morris survives an assassination attempt thanks to the bulky technology in his pocket. That is Saved by the Cell. 15, a musical high school comedy that focuses on a panicky cross-country team is Flea. And number 16, Bilbo Baggins puts his house on Airbnb and a bevy of tanned, degenerate Italians rent it out for the summer. That is The Jersey Shire. So, that is all we have. Those are your answers. Are worth 4 points apiece. Total up your scores. If you were only able to give the name of the original show, give yourself 1 point, because that's still worth something to me. It should be worth something to you, too. Anyway, total up your scores and meet you back here for the wager round. See you shortly. Bye-bye. And we're back, folks. Round number 2 is called the wager round. In this round, you're going to get 10 kind of hard trivia questions in 10 different categories. I'm going to ask all of them in a row. Once I get to the last one, I'll put all 10 on screen at once. At that point, you should pause your screen. If you're playing by pub quiz rules, I would say 10 minutes is fair. But you're doing this at home. You do you. Your scoring in this round is determined by how much you wager on each question. Your wager is going to be any whole number 1 to 10, but you can only use each one once. So I would suggest using your 10, your 9, your 8 on the ones you're more certain of. Your 1s, your 2s, your 3s on the ones you're less certain of. If you're right, you earn the points you wagered. If you're wrong, they're just 0. No negative points. So that is that. Let's go into this round. Question number 1 is in the category Now It's Everyday. Here is the question. There used to be only 2 days a year in which there was never any scheduled game for any of the big 4 sports leagues. That's NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. It was the day before, the day after what event? Number 2, that movie sounds awful is the category. I'm going to give you an accurate but misleading description of a movie plot. You're going to tell me what movie it is. This one's from a little bit farther back, but it's a very popular movie, so hopefully you get it. So here we go. This one's from 1987. My description is this. A man kidnaps his recently engaged ex-girlfriend, killing a secret government operative and injuring 2 others in the process. Her fiancé rescues her, and the 2 surviving operatives help the man stop their wedding. Name that movie. Number 3 is in the category Got It Milk. The very first commercial aired of the now famous Got Milk campaign featured a man trying to eat a peanut butter sandwich and answer a trivia question while sitting in a museum dedicated to that question's topic. I want you to tell me what that question was. That's your answer, the question. Bonus point on this one is what's the answer to that question. That is your answer. Make sense? Great. Good. Number 4 category is same name. Here's the question. What name is shared by the United States' first unmanned space satellite? First artificial satellite sent into space by the U.S. It was 2 years after Sputnik went up. So we were behind there. It's also the name of a model of car and a piece of software, both of which were very popular in the 90s and 2000s, although both of them were eventually replaced in popularity by something else. Bonus point, that car and that piece of software both were replaced in popularity by a different car and piece of software that had the same name, both made by their manufacturers. Give me that name for a bonus point. Number 5, background palette. In the painting American Gothic by Grant Wood, a father and daughter depicted standing in front of a building in Eldon, Iowa. a real building. I want to know the color of that building. Sounds easy. Is it? Is it easy for you? I don't know. Maybe. Question number 6, lyrical translation. I took an easily recognizable line of lyrics from a popular song, and I jammed them through Google Translate several times until they were nearly unrecognizable. I'm going to give you the year the song came out, the languages I used, and you're going to try and tell me what song it was. So, here we go. This one came from 1999. I ran it from its original English into Malay, then into Russian, then Turkish, then Haitian Creole, then back into English. What I got was this mess. Again, 1999. A corpse said only once that Earth is my rolling ball, but I can be sharpened inside. What song from 1999 is that? Number 7, state spelling bee. Here's the question. In the United States, there's only one U.S. capital city whose name shares no letters in common with its state's name. State's name. There we go. What is that state capital city? I guess give me the state too. I'm going to put the dummy check on that one. Number 8, a lad in many places is the question. In the montage for Aladdin's A Whole New World, Aladdin and Jasmine are seen flying the magic carpet all over the world. They start in Agrabah, they go to the Sphinx, then they go to the Parthenon in Greece, and and somewhere in China. Let's assume it's the westernmost city of Kashi, major city, I should say. Assuming that Agrabah is located roughly where Baghdad is, how many miles did they cover in their round-trip journey? They went from Agrabah to Baghdad. They went from Agrabah to the Sphinx, to the Parthenon, to China, and then back to Agrabah. How many miles did they cover? I'll give you a range on this one, plus or minus 10%. But I will also tell you this, it is less than the circumference of the Earth. So, that should help you out a little bit. Maybe. Number 9, Last Ditch Effort is the category. What unexpectedly successful video game, which was released in 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, was intended to be Hironobu Sakaguchi's last chance to make a hit game for Square before he quit? As of now, there are 14 direct sequels. I put that asterisk there because I know there's nerds out there who are going to correct me. And at least one wide-release feature film attributed to this game series. Name that video game. And number 10 in the category Medical Mystery is this. The last known reported case of a medical condition known as SHC occurred in 2017 in London, in a man known as John Nolan. The condition is usually tied to alcoholism or obesity, but no known cause or explanation exists. What does SHC stand for? Those are your 10 questions, folks. Take your time, 10 minutes if you're playing by pub quiz rules, whatever, if you're playing by your own rules. You play by your own rules. And meet me back here for the answers. I'll see you shortly. Bye-bye. And we're back for those answers. Let's take a look here, folks. Number 1 in the wager round, that day before and day after what event was usually the only 2 days in the year that we didn't have any Big Four sports games. That was the day before and the day after the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Now it's every day. Every day is like this. Number 2, that movie sounds awful. You should have gotten The Princess Bride for that. That was... Try and find a flaw. I dare you. Number 3, the question of that Got Milk campaign was, who shot Alexander Hamilton? I think that was a lot harder to answer before Lin-Manuel Miranda went nuts on stage. The answer obviously is Aaron Burr for the bonus point. That's that. Number 4, that's Satellite, that car, and that piece of software are all known as Explorer. For bonus points, the Ford Explorer and Microsoft Explorer both replaced in popularity by something called the Edge. Ford Edge, Microsoft Edge. It's good stuff. That's a bonus point for that one. Number 5, that house is off-white, or white is fine. I'm fine with that. Some people think it's red. I was playing on that. Number 6, that song is Smash Mouth's All-Star. Hopefully that's stuck in your head for the next week and a half. Number 7, the only state capital that doesn't have any letters in common with its state is Pierre, South Dakota. Number 8, you should come around 7,800 miles, or plus or minus 10%. So anywhere from 7 1,020 miles to 8,580. Ooh, that's pretty good. That was math on the fly. Number 9, that video game series was the Final Fantasy series. And number 10, SHC is spontaneous human combustion. So go ahead and total up your answers. See whichever ones you get right. Give yourself those wager points. If you get them wrong, they're just 0. Total them up and meet me back here for the third round of the game, the Connections round. See you shortly. Bye-bye. The third round of the game is the Connections round. In this round, you're going to get 10 questions as well in a little bit of a different format than you just saw. In this round, questions 1 through 9 are all seemingly unrelated trivia questions that change every week. And they're all worth 5 points apiece. And while the questions are unrelated, all 9 correct answers share a connection, something that makes them all make sense together. The connection is question number 10. What is the connection? And it is worth 10 points. Actually, if you can guess it early while I'm asking these questions, like say around question number 5, you should earn an extra 5 points for yourself. Just saying. So, the connection can be anything. We've done Bodies of Water, we've done movies from one director, we've done all Pitbull songs before. I haven't done that. I won't do that. I might do that. Just keep an eye out. But dig deep. It could be anything for the connection. It also doesn't have to be the entire answer that serves as the connection. It could just be one word in the answer or a portion of a word in the answer. So dig deep into each one of these. So here we go. Question number 1 in the Connections round is this. What French word in the English vernacular refers to whole or sliced raw vegetables, sometimes with a light vinaigrette over them, served as an appetizer in meals? Number 2, is this a famous musical group disbanded after 40 years in late December 2015 after their sole continuous member died of congenital heart failure? What is that band's name? Oh, his name is Ian Kilmeister, if that helps at all. Number 3, at least one type of fruit, one type of chili pepper, one type of nut, and a bunch of spices are required for what traditional Mexican sauce? It can include chocolate, but does not have to. Number 4, the Malibu brand is called a flavored rum by makers Pernod Ricard because of French laws that allow them to do so, even though the alcohol by volume in that is about 21%. In the United States, that would be more called what? What would that beverage be referred to as, or legally called? You should include the flavor in that as well. Just saying. Number 5, although the name tapenade refers to capers that are generally in the dish, the primary ingredient of most tapenades is what? What? Not capers. Number 6, so what is the rhyming name of the infographic that Twitter used to post during its early days whenever it would crash due to too many tweets? It would appear with the caption, "Too many tweets, please wait a moment and try again." But it was a rhyming name for that infographic it posted during its outages. Number 7, Power Wheels, Viewmaster, Chatter Telephone, and Little People are all examples of products by what toy manufacturer? It was bought out by Mattel in 2012, but I believe the brand name is still around. I don't buy too many toys, but probably is. Number 8, what movie holds the distinction of being the only X-rated film ever to win the Best Picture Oscar? And number 9, in the Gilbert and Sullivan musical Pirates of Penzance, the Major General sings a song about how well informed he is. In that song, what is the first example of his knowledge that he lists? Those are your 9 questions. They're worth 5 points apiece. Question number 10 is always the same. It's what is the connection between all 9 correct answers. That one's worth 10, but like I said, if you guessed it early, like when I was asking question 5, give yourself an extra 5 points for it. So pause now and work on these questions. Give yourself about 10 minutes, and I'll see you back here for the answers. Bye-bye. And we're back. Let's take a look at those answers, folks. Question number 1, that borrowed French word is crudité. Crudité. It's not pronounced crudites. Number 2, that band with Ian Kilmeister is better known as Motorhead. Motorhead. He's better known to you as Lemmy. That's his nickname, Lemmy. Number 3, that sauce, the Mexican sauce, is a mole sauce. 4, that Malibu would be called a coconut liqueur here in the States because of its alcohol content. But in France, they can call it whatever they want. Number 5, the name tapenade refers to capers. It's actually the olives that are the primary ingredients in a tapenade. Number 6, the rhyming name of that infographic was the fail whale, the Twitter fail whale. That's what happened. 7, the Power Wheels, Viewmaster, those were all from Fisher-Price. Fisher-Price. Number 8, Midnight Cowboy is the only X-rated film ever to win the X-rated, just the regular Oscars. The X-rated Oscars are different. And number 9, the very first item of information the Major General gives in his song that he knows is that he's got information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. That's everything about those 3. So, that being said, those are your answers. What do we have then? We've got crude, we've got motor, we've got ole, coconut, olive, whale, fish, midnight, vegetable, and mineral. Ooh, we got a bunch of oils there. Oils, folks. Crude oil, motor oil, oil of Olay. Yeah? No? Good? Good. Great. Hopefully you all get that connection. If you did, like I said, it's worth 10 points. Questions 1 through 9 are worth 5 points apiece. Total up your score and meet you back here for the final round. Bye-bye. And we're back, folks, for the last round of the game, the appropriately titled Final Round. In this round, you're going to get 2 questions, one in each of 2 categories. In a moment, I'm going to give you those categories. You should pause your screen at that moment and wager on those categories without knowing the questions. It's called blind wagering, and it's just lots of fun. Your wager is going to be anywhere up to 50 points total. That's not on each question. That's that's for the round. 50 points total for the round. Don't use negative numbers. You should know that trick by now. Just don't exceed 50 points total. If you're right on your answers, you will add those points to your score. Obviously, if you're wrong, though, you do have some skin in the game in the final round. You should be subtracting those points from your score. They are true wagers in the final round. So, that being said, here are your 2 final round categories. I've got presidential acquisition for number 1, and I've got local claim to fame for number 2. By the way, if you are one of my international fans, local is in the Chicagoland area. Anyway, pause now and wager on those categories. And we're back. Let's take a look at these questions, folks. Your wagers are all locked in, I assume. So here we go. Number 1, Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln after his assassination, was the sitting president during the acquisition of another country's colony in North America in 1867. It would later become a state. What state would it become? It was often seen as a mistake to do this, and it was referred to as Seward's Folly, who was Johnson's Secretary of State. That's number 1. Number 2 is this local claim to fame. Ty Warner grew up in LaGrange, Illinois, the son of a jeweler and a toy salesman, and is now in the top 400 richest people in the world. Most of his $2.8 billion net worth comes from his investments in the Four Seasons, but his initial big moneymaker was what in the 90s? What did he start with in the 90s that made him his money? Those are your 2 questions, folks. Go ahead and pause the screen now. Come back to me after you're done with the answers, and we'll take a look at those and see if you're right. Ready? Bye-bye. And we're back. Let's take a look at those answers, folks. Starting with number 1, presidential acquisition. That state was the great state of Alaska, Seward's Folly. That was Russia's colony way back when, and we bought it. Fair and square. And number 2, local claim to fame, Ty Warner. You may recognize the name Ty as being stamped on the tags of every single one of those Beanie Babies that I hope he did not remove, because those tags make them worth money, and if those are gone, they're just stuffed animals. So, that's it. Alaska and Beanie Babies are your 2 answers. If you got them right, give yourself the points you wagered. If you got them wrong, well, subtract whatever points you wagered, and total up your scores. Your final score maximum is this right here. So if you got anywhere close to that, you're pretty smart. That's it for my game this week, folks. Thank you so much for playing. I'll be back next week with a new episode, hopefully on time, but very unlikely. Until then, take care out there, be safe, and wear your damn masks. Wear them. Otherwise, you're stuck in a bunker like me. Bye.